So the purpose of this screencast is to show you how to use the beginning pages of the online teacher guide in the HMH platform in conjunction with the unit preparation protocol to help with internalizing the unit and help with just overall preparation before while you're planning for a whole unit. So, first, I want to point out some resources that are extremely helpful that are not in the unit planning guide, but from this main page. If you click on the View Resources tab, it opens up a lot of resources for every single unit in HMH. So right now on the left, I've selected that I'm just going to look for resources in Unit 2, and I'm going to do a few different filters to kind of narrow my search. I really encourage you to just play around with the filters and see what comes up because there are amazing things that are already created for you, like anchor charts and planning guides and uh, scaffolded resources for students. But I want to highlight one that is particularly helpful, and it is a writing resources. So I chose writing for instructional purpose, and for audience, I selected both teacher and student because there are two resources that I want to point out. The first one is the rubric. So it's a very detailed rubric, great for your instructional purposes and planning purposes too. In addition, there is a student exemplar, so a piece of student writing that you can find that matches the rubric. So if you want to teach students what the rubric means and give them examples of what the rubric means, then I would really recommend these two resources. However, please just note that the student model is not going to be an exact match for the prompt of that unit. So just be aware of that. Okay, now let's navigate back to the main page. So from this main page, let's go to the teacher edition and look at the interactive unit planning guide. So here it gives you an amazing bird's eye view of all of the things that you can read throughout the unit with students. I also want to point out the legend that's in the top right. This will show you kind of what skills are being highlighted throughout the unit. So the tabs on the side here correspond with the legend at the top. Also, just take note of the red asterisk. Anything that has that red asterisk throughout the in the unit planning guide will highlight the skills that are covered in the unit assessment. So it'll help you with some backwards planning and make sure that what you're teaching is aligned with the assessment so you can really assess what students are learning. Also, in the first page of the interactive unit planning guide, the essential question is featured, and it's featured in several points throughout the interactive unit planning guide. The next page gives some options for differentiation and scaffolding. It at first glance can look like a lot, but if you just sit with the information here and think about the students that are in your classroom, it will help you kind of pull what's important and what you really need to help make your unit successful. So every unit in HMH begins with a unit opener. So it's like a day zero lesson kind of thing. It will have unit goals that are featured. It will help center students' learning around the theme for the unit. And it will help just get the conversation going so that students are really geared up for successful learning. So that's what the first few pages in the interactive unit planning guide are about. It's about the skills that are going to be featured, the overarching theme, and it's to help get students kind of centered around a central idea for the unit. Then if you keep going, then you get into the planning for a specific lesson. To use this planning guide, it could be a little overwhelming because there are a lot of details, but it is easy to navigate because you have the content section on the side and you could just simply skip back to where you were. Whenever I'm using the interactive unit planning guide, it helps me see all of the text together so that I can kind of think about how the overarching theme is connected in all of the text, and it helps me internalize the meaning and the purpose behind all of the text. So it really addresses the questions in the unit preparation protocol. Questions like, why was the set of text selected? How does students and topics in the unit build on each other in previous future units? So this helps you like zoom out, look at all of your resources, look at where you're going, and then you could zoom in lesson by lesson and see day by day what are the things that are going to be taking place in your classroom. When utilizing the unit preparation protocol, the analyze the assessment questions can be addressed through this interactive unit planning guide. So, questions like, what will my students do in this unit to demonstrate progress toward those big ideas and grade level standards? It's featured here in the interactive planning guide with the asterisk to help call your attention to specific skills that are being brought out, and by being able to easily access the unit task. So from the contents tab on the side, we can quickly go over to end of unit task and look at the planning guide for the end of unit task so that you can make sure that as you're planning throughout the unit, everything is aligned with the task that students are going to be asked to do at the end of the unit. There are features to help with English language learners. There are the boxes around the will show you just how to help with differentiation strategies, resources for scaffolding. There are a lot of options in HMH to help really make the lesson your own and make it a unique experience for you and your students. Every class looks so different, so it's important to think about like what are the specific things that my students need. And HMH is super helpful in that it has just options for you throughout that you can really pick and choose from.